Sifter for the ear.
News, interviews, reviews, cinema, TV, streaming. Action!
Hi y'all, this is Jerry Williams, aka TV Jerry. Several weeks ago, I mentioned the James River Short Film Showcase. Because of last week's snow and the water issues, the event was moved from last Friday night to this Friday night, January 17th. They'll be screening 10 shorts starting at 6:30 p.m. at the Leslie Cheek Theater at the VMFA, and yours truly will be judging to give away $3,000 in prizes. I'll include a link to tickets on the webpage for this show at TV Jerry. This week is a double feature featuring two interesting women talking about their involvement in one aspect of the production business.
One of our members, through her filmmaking, was part of the reason that the Redskins ended up changing their name to the Commanders, because she helped shine a light on Indigenous people and how it was basically disrespectful to have sports teams named in that way.
That was Connie St. John, the president of Women in Film and Video, talking about the effect that one of its members had on the team's name change. Women in Film and Video is celebrating its 45th year, and Connie will be here to tell us about the organization. It'll be followed up by Lisa Giles, who's been on the show before. This time she talks about her newest project, the Richmond Film Network, and their upcoming festival, right after this rave review.
Sifter Review of the Week.
Landman on Paramount Plus. This series is set in the land of oil rigs and revolves around Billy Bob Thornton, who plays the manager of the operation. A major accident launches the plot, while there are other timelines that deal with various aspects of the business, including drug cartel interference. Meanwhile, he's dealing with his wife and daughter, played by Allie Larder and Michelle Randolph. Thornton is wonderful in the role. He's a constant source of outspoken energy and befuddled comedy. Both of the women bring bright, sexy fun to their characters. Especially amusing is Dad's interaction with his daughter's sexuality. The cast also includes the big boss, John Hamm, and his wife, Demi Moore, in a small part. This series shows off the skills of showrunner-writer Taylor Sheridan at his best. Controversial conversations, cruel violence, political wrangling, and unique people. Like his previous hit Yellowstone, this one boasts interesting characters fleshed out by wonderful performances, sharp dialogue, and sometimes surprising plotting. They all combine to create a continually compelling and wonderfully entertaining look at the oil biz. I gave Landman 4.5 out of 5 stars. Connie St. John, welcome to Sifter for the Ear. First of all, who are you and what's your background? It's pretty impressive.
Who am I and what's my background? That's so broad, Jerry. I worked for Columbia Pictures Television, which then merged with TriStar. So it was Columbia TriStar Television in Los Angeles. And then I worked in Atlanta for Turner Broadcasting for TNT Originals and then CNN. And then I moved to Chicago and worked for Oprah at Harpo Productions, and then went back to Los Angeles and was head of marketing for the Entertainment Industry Foundation, which used to be called Permanent Charities, and they did the Revlon Run Walks that people remember.
Okay.
And also we launched, while I was there, the National Colorectal Cancer Research Alliance with Katie Couric.
Oh, wow.
If you all remember when she had her colonoscopy on television.
I remember that. Yeah.
I was that team. That was our brainchild.
Were you on the set for the colonoscopy? I guess not. It was
I was not. No, I didn't be on the set. So I've been working in entertainment for many, many years. I have my own production company. We do family-friendly productions, film, stage, television. And now I have the great honor of being back in DC, which I love.
Oh, great. And you mentioned you have a production company. It's kind of an interesting title, No Weapons Production. I kind of know what that means, but tell me why that title.
So No Weapon, and weapon doesn't have an S. So No Weapon Productions. It is from a biblical scripture, Isaiah 54:17, that says, no weapon formed against man shall prosper. What we wanted was family-friendly programming.
Right.
And what that means is no gratuitous sex violence or profanity, which doesn't mean that there's none, because there's sex violence and profanity even in the Bible. So it doesn't mean that. It just means that it's not gratuitous.
Right. I wanted to hearken back, if you can give us the little short version of the history of women in film and video, because it started in somebody's living room.
It did. So we are celebrating our 45th anniversary. So
Congratulations.
45 years ago in 1979, it started with a group of 12 women, I believe, in the living room of one of them, Jenny Duran. And they were women in the business who knew that there needed to be greater representation, more opportunities for women in the filmmaking business. And it started there and just continued to grow so rapidly that they knew they had to come out of a living room because it was growing faster than that living room could hold. And it has just grown over the years into what it is today. We have almost 1,000 members.
Wow.
We have over 200 programs, educational and networking programs that we offer each year. People are talking about it not only around the Mid-Atlantic region, but we have members all over the U.S. because of the programming.
Well, now, you mentioned it started in D.C. How has it expanded? I thought it got national, international at some point, because I know there was a chapter in Richmond for a while, or there still is now.
So there are women in film organizations around the country.
Right.
And there's a Women in Film and Television International organization as well. These are all separate organizations. We're not chapters. We're not governed by some other umbrella organization. All of them are separate 501c3 organizations. So even as we've grown and expanded, we're based in the Mid-Atlantic region. That's primarily who we serve. The one in Richmond is still us. There are just members in Richmond who are also members of Women in Film DC. And there are two different umbrella organizations, which is important to know. There's WIF US, and there's WIFT, which is Women in Film and Television International, that wanted to provide a space for all the various women in film organizations around the world for international to come together.
Now, you mentioned programming. What are some of the more interesting seminars and things that you've had that people may, oh, well, that's interesting to learn about? I know there's 200 a year, so there's a lot of them. So go through all 200 for me, please.
Let's see. Let me make it concise. Our programming kind of breaks down between educational professional development programming, where you're getting some form of training, and then filmmaker conversations, which are fascinating. You know, you're just sitting and listening and learning about somebody's journey or their project's journey. And then we have the networking opportunities. So that's really important. But our training programs, we have 2 fellowships that are really amazing. There's a narrative script development fellowship and a documentary fellowship as well. It's an 8-month program that you apply to be part of. And it's an intensive. You meet every week for 8 months and you hone your project, your script, and then you pitch at the end and you're put in the room with producers and people who can greenlight your project. So those are really wonderful and intensive programs that we offer, in addition to production assistant training, which is offered once or twice a year. That's typically a 2 to 3 day training. And then we've got a filmmakers conference that we just had in November 15th through 17th, called Script DC, where there are master classes held throughout the weekend. But there were things for actors, there were things for sound engineers, or people who wanted to score their films. There were so many different classes. So the 2 favorite for me over the past couple of years has been one, our podcast, which is called Media Maker Spotlight.
I'm going to get to that.
There was a conversation with the science advisor for Star Trek.
Oh, wow.
And that was fascinating, hearing about what she gets to do. And the other one that I really, really enjoyed was there was a guy who's written and sold multiple Christmas movies, and he was giving the formula. Like, here's what you need to know if you want to sell a Christmas movie. It was so great. That's the thing, is there's something for everybody depending on what your taste is.
Yeah.
Surprise guest drop-in.
And you mentioned the screenwriters and the specific things that you have for that, which is a perfect segue into our other surprise drop-in here. Hold on one second. Robin Farmer, welcome back to Sifter for the Ear.
Hi, Jerry. How are you?
Obviously, you know Connie.
Hi, Connie.
Hello, Robin.
Footnote.
Robin Farmer is the director of the Virginia Screenwriters Forum, and I'll include a link to the podcast I did with her on the webpage for this show at TV Jerry. And she was just talking about some of the different programs, and she talked about her two favorites. So I'm going to have you jump right in with that. What has been one of your favorite or two of your favorite seminars that you've been involved with or have attended with women in film?
I am a member of the 2024 cohort of the Narrative Script Development Fellowship. It's an 8-month program, and it has been wonderful because it is expanding our network. And you know, Jerry, this business is about relationships.
Oh, yeah.
So for 8 months, we've been meeting with various professionals from the industry, talking to us about everything about how to cast your film. Ann Chapman. We've talked to Megan Hawley.
Footnote.
As she mentions, Ann Chapman Casting and screenwriter Megan Hawley have both been on this show, and I'll include a link to their podcasts.
We've learned how to line produce our script. We've learned how to do pitch decks. So it's about the business of taking your script and learning everything you need to learn in order to move it forward.
How else is Richmond involved in women in film?
So Richmond is involved because once I became a member, I was blown away by everything that this organization offers. And so I think it was in September, we had a coffee chat. We co-hosted it with Richmond International Film Festival. And so we invited local women to come, and there's enough interest, there's enough momentum that we might have like a sort of a Richmond chapter.
Oh, cool.
Right. And so we're going to start holding monthly coffee chat and try to drum up more interest in the business. You asked me what programs that I like. They have something called Screenwriters Roundtable, and you can send your first 5 pages of your script, and you have professional actors actually do that. And it's so much fun to hear your work come alive. And then you're also offered feedback. I also did that. And so I became a board member in, I think it was July.
She's wonderful. So we get to serve on the Strategic Communications Committee, and she's brilliant because Robin has a journalism background as well. She understands how to think like media. So some of the things that we're doing this year are media focused to talk and get some coverage about some of the wonderful things that WIF does and how we both capture and create history.
Let me ask both of you this question. What would you say, and these may not be things you were involved with directly, but you know about some of the special landmarks or achievements that Women in Film has accomplished over the years?
One of our members, through her filmmaking, was part of the reason that the Redskins ended up changing their name to the Commanders.
Oh, wow.
Because she helped shine a light on Indigenous people and how it was basically disrespectful to have sports teams named in that way. We don't just capture history, we create it. It's been really interesting to learn about the impact our filmmakers, our media makers have had.
This isn't related to the question, but it's an interesting factoid. A quarter of our members are male.
That was one of my questions. Is can a man be a member? But yeah, there you a quarter. Wow, that's a lot.
Yep, and we've had male board members as well. We have one right now, but we've had as many as 5 or 8 on our board who are male as well. So it's gender parity. It's so we don't want to swing the pendulum so far on the other side that we're doing what we're accusing them of doing. So these are allies who also care about parity.
Robin, anything else you want to mention about this organization while we got you here?
Just that it's my goal to get as many Richmond area creatives to join it as possible.
Terrific. All right. Well, thank you so much. It's great to see you again. When you get your first movie made, we're going to get you back on here to talk about it for sure.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Robin.
Now, Connie, I got a question for you. You mentioned the podcast. What's the story behind y'all's podcast?
So we launched it, I want to say 2021 or 2022. I can't remember. It hasn't been that long. And our initial goal was to feature mid-Atlantic media makers to shine more light on them. It's expanded so that we also have guests that are appealing to our mid-Atlantic media makers. So it might be somebody who's not based here, but their skill set is so important, to talk to those guys, just the same way as any of our programming. But we also have programming from people who are outside of this region who have important information and experience to share. We have new episodes that drop, I think, every 2 weeks on a Sunday. But the podcast is growing, and it's attracting an international audience. We have people from around the globe now who are tuning in because the guests are so great. And the interview questions are really, they dig deep and really have a chance to get to know these guests and allow us as listeners to get to know them.
Cool. Wow, that's great. Now, we already determined that men can be a member, and I know there's 4 different levels of membership. What are each of those about?
There are actually more than 4. So there's, as I mentioned, dual membership, which is if you're a member of another WIF organization. There's general membership, which is the basic, you're in the industry for however many years. Executive membership, you've been in the industry for 10 plus years.
Aha.
There's student membership, which is also a discounted rate if you're a student. And then we go into corporate supporter memberships, and there are 3 different levels of that, where depending on which level, you have multiple members of your organization that get the general membership benefits as well. And you help sponsor programming, and your logo is here, and all
Right,
those
right.
things. And then we've been working really hard. We've started a certificate program for some of our training, because it really is professional development. We're not calling it DPE, it's not that, but we do provide certificates for that in-depth training. So Script DC will provide it, the fellowship programs will provide it, the PA, the production assistant training, provides it. So anything that is master class level and above, you can get a certificate, and we promote that to corporations, that your employees will get training that will be beneficial to your organization.
So you mentioned at the beginning that the 45th year is getting ready to be celebrated, or are you already celebrating it?
Yes. So in September, so I got to tell you this, it was the most fun thing. So once I became president of WIF, I set my Google alerts to have women in film included, so that if anything in the news was coming out about women in film, I would hear about it. Knowing our anniversary was coming up in September, right? At the beginning of this year, it Google alerts me that Mattel, for their Career of the Year Barbie, for 2024, their Career of the Year Barbie is Women in Film Barbie.
Wow.
Right. I immediately started reaching out to them like, hi, we have an anniversary. Would you be willing to give us, Barbies for our 45th anniversary celebration, or for Women of Vision Awards or something? That went on for months, heard nothing. But finally, in June, I think it was, they wrote back and said we would be honored to do that.
Wow.
And so for our 45th anniversary celebration, our first party, and that's the first thing we did, was in September. We had our 45th anniversary celebration, 70s theme. I dressed up. I had my big Afro wig on,
there
and
you
my,
go.
my hippie dress. They sent us 200 Barbies for us to be able to give away to
Wow.
all of our attendees. They also sent us an auction package that features the collectible Women in Film Barbies, and we're auctioning that off in April at our Women of Vision Awards. So Women of Vision honors somewhere between 3 and 5 women each year who have been trailblazers or pioneers, who are doing amazing things and paying it forward. And so that event this year was held at the National Museum of Women in the Arts. It was spectacular, and it will be held there again next year. And as part of that, we'll be auctioning off that collectible set from Mattel. We had a Barbie filmmaker challenge. We did a video for that. For the 45th anniversary, we're also doing 4 panels that are in person, not just virtual, and we're inviting media to them. The first one was called An Attack on Democracy, and we featured 3 films that had dealt with different things over the years, from the first election to January 6th to breaking the West and the oligarchs in Russia. The next one is February 11th, and we call them anniversary panels. So February 11th is about AI, and whether it's assistive or is it an assault.
Aha.
So we're inviting special guests to come in and be on that panel, and again have our WIF members get to come free in celebration of the anniversary. And then there's a nominal fee for general people, the general public. We have another one coming up in May, and then we'll have another one just before the end of our anniversary year, which ends in September next year. And then we're doing something super fun. We don't have the date yet, but we're doing a telethon, an anniversary telethon. We're doing a fundraiser to set the stage for the next 45 years. So we're doing a telethon. We'll stream live, and in between on the phone, just like they used to do, in between the phone calls, we'll be showing shorts from our members so that people can tune in, watch the shorts, make their pledge. And so, we're looking for 450 people to get $45. So we'll do this live telethon for 4.5 hours. Everything's all about the 45.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll do that, and that'll be in the spring as well. So we're planning those things between the panels, Women of Vision, and the telethon. We've got a lot coming up still for the 45th anniversary.
Wow, that's exciting. You'll have to send me links to those, and I'll be sure to mention them on the show, too. That'd be great.
Absolutely.
So, no, this has been fascinating. I remember back in the 90s when there was a chapter started in Richmond. I think it kind of went away for a while, and now hopefully Robin will bring it back full steam. But I want to thank you so much. This has been fascinating, and I'll look forward to hearing more about some of the exciting stuff that y'all will be doing.
Thank you so much for having me. With loves to support our local media makers, of which you are one.
There you
So
go. There you
thank
go.
you for doing what you do.
That was Connie St. John, the current president of Women in Film and Video, which is celebrating its 45th year. I'll have links to the organization and more on the webpage for this show at TV Jerry. Now let's get local with Lisa Giles to hear about her creation, the Richmond Film Network, and the upcoming festival. Lisa Giles, welcome back to Sifter for the Ear. Tell me, first of all, what is the RFN, Richmond Film Network?
The network itself is an online platform for creators to share and hopefully find their next collaborator. So think of it as a database. Think of it as Facebook without the toxicity and the ad and the drama, but it's an online platform for creators to meet and share.
Do you have a special event coming up with the Richmond Film Network? What's that about?
We do. It's called RFN Indie Fest. It is a day-long film festival. We'll have shorts, features. We have a special program. We're calling it a keynote conversation. It features a documentary filmmaker named Loki Mulholland, and it's a talk with him about documentary filmmaking process. And we'll see samples, clips from several of his films. I think he's got 12 documentary films, all features. And we'll learn about that process and his mission where social justice is concerned.
Obviously, we know what the Virginia Production Alliance is. How does that work with the Richmond Film Network? Are they in competition? Do they love each other? What is the difference?
I hope we love each other. I don't see us as being the same thing. I don't see us being in competition. I see the Virginia Production Alliance as an advocacy organization for film production. I see us elevating those individual voices. So where the VPA, I believe, supports filmmaking and film incentives and lobbying the General Assembly, we don't do any of that.
Right.
We support the filmmaker. We help them find their crew, their writers, their so forth, so that they can get their films made. And then once they get their films made, we give them a platform to showcase their films.
Is being a member of the RFN free?
Yes, it is. Anybody can join.
And of course, I'll have a link to it on the webpage for the show. You also do the 48-hour film project and the horror film project. Why, Lisa? Why are you doing all this? How do you make money off of this?
Well, why do I do it? Because I'm passionate about film. I'm passionate about the arts. Anybody who is in the art space knows how, that's what drives you. That's what's fulfilling for you. There is a space. There is a need. You see the need. You have the skill to put it all together. And you pray for the reresources to make it all happen.
Pray for the resources. That mean money's coming from heaven, or?
Well, of course not. but no, we have sponsors. We have partners. We have volunteers, people who donate their time, people who donate money, people who donate resources and so forth to make it happen.
Great, great.
And we can always use more.
Absolutely. Ironically, the other half of this podcast is with women in film. How are women involved in the RFN, besides you, obviously?
Yeah, I have 32% of our filmmakers that we're featuring are female, 32% from Richmond, 53% from Virginia. We'll have 13 of our filmmakers that will be in attendance. Total of 19 films are being shown. There are 16 shorts, a feature, and 2 proofs of concept. So I think we've got good representation, not only female, but diversity of all natures that are coming. And of course, it'll be at the Park RVA. That is a new venue for us on February 8th from 12 to 9 p.m.
Good deal. So this festival is not a once-a-year thing.
We are a festival series, so we're not a once-a-year thing. In our first season, we had 7 events. We were monthly and ran monthly for 7 months. This season, we're going quarterly, so we'll have 4. We're February 8th, May 17th, August 9th, and November 15th. So if there are filmmakers who missed submission for this go around, you've got 3 more chances for this year.
That's good to know. And I'll have a link to RFN on the webpage for the show at tvjerry.com. Thanks again. I'll look forward to talking to you next time.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was Lisa Giles, creator of the Richmond Film Network. I'll have links to the network and their upcoming festival on the webpage for this show at TV Jerry.
Coming soon. In theaters.
The Brutalist. This film about an architect fleeing post-war Europe to America stars Adrian Brody, who won a Golden Globe, as did the film itself. Nickel Boys examines the powerful friendship between 2 young black men navigating life in a Florida reform school, based on the Pulitzer Prize-winning novel by Colson Whitehead. Wolf Man. Leigh Whannells, the director of The Invisible Man in 2022, is back with this genre thriller with Christopher Abbott and Julia Garner. Hard Truths. The latest from Mike Lee revolves around an abrasive woman played to kudos by Marianne Jean-Baptiste. One of Them Days. Keke Palmer and SZA play best friends and roommates who discover that one of their boyfriends has blown their rent money, and they go to extremes to avoid eviction. 2 films that have Oscar potential are coming back to town, Sing Sing and The Substance.
TV and streaming.
Back in action on Netflix. After an 11-year break, Cameron Diaz returns to acting along with Jamie Foxx as they play former spies, now married, who are forced out of retirement when their cover is blown. Also with Andrew Scott, Glenn Close, and Kyle Chandler. Prime Target on Apple. A postgraduate math student discovers an effort is being made to destroy his work in finding a pattern in prime numbers that would allow him to access every computer in the world. SNL 50, Beyond Saturday Night, on Peacock. Not to be confused with the recent movie, this is a series of 4 episodes looking back on the history of the show with interviews and behind-the-scenes clips. The Night Agent on Netflix. This is the 2nd season of the streamer's most-watched series in 2023. Gabrielle Basso is back as the agent who goes AWOL to save the United States. Severance on Apple. After more than 2 years, the 2nd season has arrived. Next week, we'll meet Alan Scott Neal, a Virginia native whose thriller Last Straw is now playing on Shudder. You know, you can subscribe to this podcast on the usual platforms or go to TV Jerry, click on the podcast tab, and there's the link to enroll. This is Jerry Williams. Thanks for listening.
For more Sister, including literally thousands of reviews,
Visit tvjerry.com.
That's a wrap.